This week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast is brought to you by listeners like you. Head on over to patreon.com/Run, Eat, Drink podcast and subscribe today. Fans, founders, and insiders like you help us keep the Run, Eat, Drink podcast going, and we thank you for your support.
Hi, I'm Jeff Galloway, and you are listening to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
Welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We feature destination races from across the country, and after the race, we take you on a tour of the best local food and beverage to celebrate. So whether you are an elite runner or a back of the packer like us, you'll know the best places to accomplish, explore, and indulge on your next runcation. Welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. I'm your host, Amy.
And I am your co-host, Dana.
This is episode 130 of our show, and I am so excited that everybody is joining us. I just think it's awesome that people keep coming back week after week.
Yes, and the reward for coming back week after week is that this week we have a coffee-infused episode.
It is almost entirely coffee. I mean,
even our run
has a coffee theme. Our drink segment is infused with coffee.
The only thing left would be to eat some chocolate-covered espresso beans, which we don't do.
I know. We had
to rein it in somewhere.
As we record this, it is Labor Day.
Yes. And
so,
happy Labor Day to everybody out there.
Which is usually the unofficial end of summer. And the refreshing flavors of summer got me thinking about a great salad recipe that I go back to again and again and again from the Healthspan Solution.
And I'm going to second your selection here for this week's food portion and let everybody know ahead of time. Yes, it's a salad, but it is a salad fit for a meal. And you're not going to want to miss this.
Yeah, it's awesome. And you know, I really like that Jeff Galloway introduced our episode today because, of course, he's our coach.
America's coach.
We're going to talk about him, anytime we get a chance because he's so inspiring and he's given us so much support in our running journey.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the people in our Runcation Nation, Wendel, over there on our Facebook page, he shared Jeff's new show, You Can Do It.
Yes, that is it is the newest podcast that I have added to my podcatching app.
Yeah, so Wendel, awesome recommendation. There are 2 episodes currently out, and what I love is that it's a collaboration between Jeff and his son, Westin. Westin hosts the show.
I think it's a great way for Westin to memorialize some of his dad's stories and his history. And it's something that I think more people, and I wish more people would do with their older family members.
I know. It's a great way to have a connection and an ongoing conversation and to document so many amazing things about Jeff's life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a great idea. I would love to do that with my dad. I would love it.
Well, you have to get on that.
I do. And you have now been introduced to the episode that carried me through a major portion of our run this week.
Yes.
So.
All 10K.
Hoo-wah! No, that's not right.
No.
No.
But yes, so we are going to link to that podcast in the show notes.
Yes.
That's just a little recommendation for you guys. Something else to check out.
Thank you, Wendel.
Once you've finished, of course, your favorite running podcast, the Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
Yes. So I just like it. So I just wanted to give him, he has given us so much love. I wanted to give him a little bit of love.
Absolutely.
And just the first 2 episodes I just burned right through, and it's It's not a how-to. It is stories you will love to listen to about Jeff Galloway's running past and career. Yeah.
So check that out. But we have a pretty interesting run segment this week and a virtual 5K to go along with it.
It's a 10K, buddy. Really?
That's right. It is a 10K.
No, okay.
I literally just said that.
You're not wrong.
But I'm reading the medal as I'm sitting here.
Yeah, but you're not wrong though, because I love the flexibility of this race, this virtual run, because it supports a great cause. You get fantastic bling, and you can choose your distance.
And our dog Danny loved it too, as you can hear her chiming in. Actually, as we are recording, there are some wicked thunderstorms happening. You may hear the dogs chiming in on that, and as well as other things that we are talking about here on the show.
Of course.
But yeah, this race was recommended to us by one of our listeners.
Yes, speaking of the Runcation Nation, they are a wealth of recommendations, including virtual races. And Tyler from the Runcation Nation, Tyler Johnson, he posted about this in our group, and he says, I'm just going to leave this here for you, because I think it incorporates everything you love.
And he's not wrong, because it's the come to the dark side. We have coffee, 5K or 10K.
Yeah.
And it is a coffee and Star Wars themed virtual race. And when we saw this, we were like, oh, we've got to run that. That's perfect.
We love Star Wars. We love coffee.
So we both opted, it looks like, to do it as a 10K.
Yes, talk about your 10K since you completed it first.
Well, I did. This was my long week at work, so I worked 5 12-hour shifts this week.
Overachiever.
And I also had my 6-month follow-up with my doctor.
Yay! Good reports all around.
Yes, good reports all around. I can say with certainty on Friday, which is when I did my run, I got up early, knocked it out, and then went to my doctor's appointment. And let me give you the medical report first. The medical report is that my blood pressure is the lowest it's been in 2 years.
Wow.
Yay. And that is with medication. My weight is, I'm a little heavier than my lowest. I've gained about 8 pounds, but I have lost all of my COVID weight.
Yay.
So I've still, 6 pounds. 6 pounds. So I've still got a little bit of weight to lose, but I've lost a ton of weight. Really focusing this past month on plant-based eating, getting my runs in regularly, and throwing in some intermittent fasting.
Yes, you have been so dedicated. You have motivated me too.
Well, I'm sorry for that, because
Why?
I don't enjoy it. Well,
Why?
Well, we talk a little bit about it. Of course, the plant-based eating is something that we've gotten very accustomed to and actually enjoy. We work very hard to find great recipes. The intermittent fasting was something I introduced on a daily basis back 2 years ago.
Right.
And then just in the last couple of months, I've started playing around with whole day fasting.
I think you did the intermittent fasting more so than I did in the beginning.
I did, because I know that you have, like at your work, you have set lunch breaks and breaks that you can go to. I have a lot more freedom to grab food kind of if and when I want.
And I was just afraid that I would get in the middle of teaching something and be like,
you should have eaten.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it worked out a little bit better, but I've been incorporating this whole day fasting where I would fast for an entire 24 or 48 hours. And that was an interesting experience, but the results were very good.
As far as your medical report goes.
Yeah, my medical report was great.
Yeah.
And, my doctor, all this was done with, consultation with my doctor. I would say if you're going to do anything like that at all, please make sure that you're talking to your doctor and that it's okay for you.
Yeah.
So I did that, and this was on Friday, and I got up at 3 a.m.
Or what we like to call, oh, dark ridiculous.
It was a dark ridiculous.
It's like a Disney running race.
Yep, it felt like a Disney race. I got up at 3, got dressed, went out, knocked out my 10K, excuse me, and
yeah, give yourself credit for all the mileage, bud.
this was just going to be a Galloway long run, which Jeff's method really emphasizes 2 days a week. You work on your speed or your turnover, whatever you're working on.
Maintenance runs.
And your maintenance runs, and then your distance run is not one that you have to do for time.
Right.
So I didn't, and I was doing right at 16 minutes per mile for the 10K.
You were moving in the walk.
And it was basically just working on the walk
Yeah.
and giving myself an opportunity to catch up on some podcasts and some music and just kind of relax before going to this doctor's appointment. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, hoping that I'd hit certain weight goals and blood pressure goals. And of course, the last thing you want to get stressed about is your blood pressure before you're going to get your blood pressure taken.
Right.
You know, and I've got a BP cuff here at home. I monitor that. And I would say that if you are on medication for hypertension, that's probably a good thing for you to have. It certainly has been for me. And I'm able to track that using, well, it links to the scale and it all goes to my account. I have, not a sponsor, but this is a Y Things or Withings BP cuff and scale, and it all syncs to the same app,
which is called HealthMate.
and that all feeds into the Apple Health app. So I've got all my data, which is really nice to be able to spit that out as a PDF and send it to the doctor. So pretty convenient.
It's cool.
So I did that, 16 minutes a mile for 6.22 miles.
Oh.
So that's my running report. And I will say, getting up at 3, out the door by 3:30, that's the way to go if you want to avoid the sun. But it was still insanely muggy. There was no escaping.
There it is.
No escaping, ding, ding, ding. No escaping the humidity here in Florida. So
We're going to get a bell eventually.
yes, that's coming. So what about you?
Well, I did mine on Sunday whilst you were at work.
Mm-hmm.
And I got up, I would say 6:30. So not as early as some people.
No.
But yes, this last month, I mean, you talk about your health update and your medical report. This last month, I find it is so great when you can, as a household, share in the eating plan and the cooking and the preparation, and
It makes it easier.
support, and we're supporting each other.
Makes it very much
So
easier.
I like it. I mean, I really applaud the people who are doing it, and they still have to support their households of kids, and it's super challenging
Yes.
in a larger family, I think. But I just like that we can support each other, we can cook for each other, and that's why I like that we follow the same plan together, and that you have motivated me, and so that I got back to my pre-COVID weight.
Boom.
Yeah, I'm excited. So as most of you know, I'm still healing from that sprained ankle. I guess it's worse than breaking something.
Well, we've talked about that in a couple of episodes, but the prevailing runner's wisdom and that you hear is that a bad sprain is a harder recovery than a break.
So this week I thought, well, Jeff just wanted me to get out there and do 30 minutes, and I did 30 minutes, and I felt good, and I felt that I was under the threshold of further irritation or pain, as he likes to say. So if you're going to push over that threshold, you need to stop, and I was feeling good. So for this virtual run, I chose to do the 10K because I want to start to increase the mileage again in hopes that, fingers crossed, the Disney Marathon weekend happens.
Absolutely.
And I can get back on track with the upwards mileage and give myself a chance to complete that race.
Absolutely.
So, I hope that it's possible. Hope that I can do it. So I did a 10K, nice, easy walk. And then when I was done, I was done.
Very nice.
Yeah. So not for time like you. And I don't even know what the minutes per mile were for me. minutes per mile pace didn't matter.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter on the long run. The endurance and the getting of the mileage is the key. And I'm starting to get into, I feel like I've turned a corner and I can start to get into higher mileage.
Very nice. And you're starting to feel better generally with that ankle. The swelling is going down. The bruising's
it's still rough.
Still there.
God, that hurts.
But yeah, it's good to see that's at least getting to where you can do some higher mileage on it. And I've come home a couple of days and seen you doing some speed work.
A little bit. Just short intervals.
Yeah.
Just to shuffle and see how I'm feeling. But I think maybe the theme of our virtual run, which is from a new virtual race site. I don't think we've talked about the I Run for Movement.
No, we haven't.
At all. And so I really like that Tyler introduced us to this. And I love the theme incorporated Star Wars, incorporated coffee, incorporated a terrific bib. I mean, this is like, race quality bib. It's not just like printed out on a piece of paper.
Right.
And it came with safety pins in the swag bag when we were mailed our stuff. And we also had an option of a tank top or a t-shirt. And it looks like a little Darth Vader Funko Pop.
Yeah, it's a very cute representation of Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
So Funko Pop's a great way to describe it.
know.
If you know what those bobblehead style toys
like
are with the big head and little body.
Yeah.
It's like that.
And he's holding a lightsaber and he's holding a coffee mug.
Yeah, and they're both red.
So that's awesome. And that theming carries through to the hefty metal that is like a little bit larger than a silver dollar.
It's a good bit larger than a silver dollar. It's not as big as some of, say, a Disney medal might be.
Right.
But what I like about it is that it has, you have black, silver, yellow, and red in the metal.
So cool.
It's nice and hefty. It's very thick, so you get a really good feeling of quality with it.
Mm-hmm.
And the colors are done with enamel on the metal itself. It's gorgeous, and they did a really nice job with it.
I want to wear the tank top and the medal, and I just want to go have coffee at one of our favorite coffee places.
That's a good idea. And if you want to see what those look like, Amy's picture is part of this week's episode artwork, and I'm sure that photo is probably going to turn up in social media this week as well.
Yes, he's giving me homework. Yes,
that'll give you an idea of what that looks like. The shirt itself is the Star Wars title font, and so it says "Run with the dark side." We have coffee. And your options, either shirt or tank top, are both black with yellow lettering.
Mm-hmm. So it really stands out.
So everything fits. The theme is consistent throughout. The ribbon on the metal is black with yellow lettering, and it's that same Star Wars font.
It's so great, and it's really hardy. I love it.
And this company, looking at their website, they do a number of pop culture themed races.
I want to do the Ron Burgundy one.
Yeah, they do I Run to Stay Classy. It's a Ron Burgundy theme. They do I Run With Me Goose, and that's another Top Gun theme.
They do Back to the Future, and we haven't done that theme yet.
They do have a Back to the Future. They have just a number of different options. They have great senses of humor when you read some of these. The Dunder Mifflin running team, the
Run for Beer.
They have an I Run for Beer, I Run for Margaritas. So anything
tacos
you can think of. And the packages are for 5K, 10K virtual are $34.99.
Yeah.
And that's with the medal, the shirt, and the bib.
And I think they do it so well. And the shirts are cotton. if we didn't say that before.
We didn't mention
so
that
it's
before,
not
but
like,
that's a good thing to tell people.
I'm not going to run in it.
No.
But I'm going to celebrate in it as I wear the medal and the shirt to go maybe to, I don't know, Perk and Brew here locally in Cape Coral or Narrative Coffee Roasters in the Naples area.
Yep.
Something like that.
Yeah. A good way to describe this would be, this is a great finisher shirt.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Not a tech shirt, but a finisher shirt.
Right. Exactly. So don't wear it in the Florida heat. Ding, 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 ding.
And did we mention that this benefits stand up to cancer?
We have not. And I love that their various races support different charities.
Yes.
Different charities.
You can go through and you could either shop for the theme of the race or you could shop for the charity it's benefiting, depending on what you're feeling like doing.
I love that. Yes.
And as we're sitting here, there's one called the Area 51 Running Team, and it's got a little. That one's pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. I like that. And they call it an out of this world 5K or 10K. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, and again, that one also it benefits Stand Up to Cancer.
Yeah, but they do Feeding America. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I've seen some military charities, some police funds, things like that. That I think that they have a variety of causes where you could find a theme that works for you, like you said.
Absolutely.
Or a cause that speaks to your heart. Yeah. And you could make it a fun run.
Oh, absolutely. Look,
worthwhile.
And we know the audience is split on virtuals.
I know, 50-50.
We are just putting this out there. This is our way of staying motivated. Yeah. I like the bling. I run for the bling. Yeah. I won't wear the bling or display the bling until I've done the run.
That is, we get them, and we didn't open the package until we knew we were going to do it this week. And
I still haven't opened my package.
I did, and I laid it out for you so that we can anoint you with your shirt and your medal.
So it sounds like I have homework, and we're going to be seeing something on social media this week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And, maybe we could take a field trip to one of our favorite coffee places.
Maybe so.
Or
I like where your head is at there. Or
maybe if we find a pop-up of coffee we might be talking about this week.
Interesting.
So?
Well, that's the drink portion. We still have to talk about food.
Now
that we have done this awesome race, and we're going to have links to
I Run for Movement
in the show notes.
Yeah, so you can check out their,
it's a lot.
Numerous themes.
Big selection of runs.
Yeah, you can find something for everyone in there.
Yes.
And the distances are not daunting, and you find a cause, and it's fantastic.
So we're going to link to that in the show notes, but all this talk of running has made me hungry. And legitimately, I am hungry because we haven't had dinner yet.
That's true.
And we're going to be talking about this awesome dish that you've picked out of the Healthspan Solution. And I'm going to be like, get in there and make it.
Well, it is.
I'll get in there and make it.
Well, typically I've made this one for us. I think you have made like the chana masala that we talked about.
The mushrooms. There are some dishes that you typically I know this one backwards and forwards, so I'm going to get in there and make it. Mm-hmm.
This is one that I make for us frequently.
Yes.
So I'm proud to say I got in the kitchen and made us a healthy meal.
Yeah, and really, this is called the Chili Avocado Citrus Bowl, and this is taken from the Healthspan Solution, and we talked over a couple of episodes about other dishes from the Healthspan Solution, but we did actually talk over 2 episodes to the authors.
Yeah.
Ray Cronice and Juliana Hever. And we just recently had Juliana back on the show.
Yes.
Because she's got some other stuff going on.
For the mushroom dish from plantbaseddietitian.com. And she's putting out some recipes that are, you can take them and you can run with them.
She's also answering people's questions about plant-based eating on her Facebook and Instagram, I believe. I usually catch her on Facebook, and her talks are short and super informative. And she's just a lot of fun to watch. She's very engaging. And, you know, I've been following her for a while, reading her books, watching her TED Talk. And I mean, she's just awesome. But this recipe is no less awesome.
The Chili Avocado Citrus Bowl, I think this weekend people are thinking about barbecuing out. It's the end of summer.
Okay, Florida didn't get the memo about end of summer.
I know.
So, just saying.
Ding, ding, ding. Yes, we now need a bell for this segment. No. But it's usually marking the unofficial end of summer.
Yes.
School is back in session. The football season has started.
And then when you start to go to the grocery store or to your farmer's market, you do start to see, usually after Labor Day, certain changes to the things that are available.
To produce.
Right.
Yeah, in the farmer's market. It just depends on what's available. And in the summer, we are so lucky to have great grapefruit, great oranges, and they cry out for use in dishes.
Yeah, it's pretty commonplace to do, of course, orange juice, grapefruit juice. You know, sometimes you'll see like a citrus salad of some kind, but putting it in a savory dish as a garnish or as an ingredient is not as common.
And this has, maybe it's harder to get the pomegranate seeds.
Pomegranates just literally this week arrived back at our grocery store. So that's a seasonality thing.
So we have made it several times when we've been without the pomegranate seeds. But the pomegranate seeds add a crunch and add like just a pop of that sour note, you know?
Oh yeah, I think pomegranate seeds are. I mean, they're a lot of work if you're getting a pomegranate. A lot of people may have seen a pomegranate and like, I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I don't want to work that hard.
You see it and you eat the seeds. Trust me, these seeds are these crunchy little nuggets, and then they've got this wonderful like jelly around them that pops in your mouth when you bite down on them, and it's sweet and tangy and just phenomenal.
Yeah, I think that they take the place of maybe a pumpkin seed or a crouton or, you know, in a salad. But I like this because you have a big bed of spring mix.
And you can get the pre-mixed stuff, pre-washed stuff.
Or you can do whatever you find at the farmer's market in a combination. And you have grapefruit and orange. So you have like a little bit of sour, a little bit of sweet citrus.
And a little bit of bitter.
Yeah. And then the crunch. And then you have a healthy fat in avocado.
So you're basically doing wedges of orange, wedges of grapefruit, sliced avocado. You're doing the pomegranate seeds all on top of this bed of lettuce. Anything else?
The dressing.
The dressing.
Let's talk about the dressing because I never ever thought about taking part of the citrus and making it a piece or two of the orange and putting it in the blender with some seasoned rice vinegar and some chili powder.
Is that it?
That is it. And if you vary it up, depending on the types of oranges you get, it you know, if you just have regular navel oranges, what have you, that's fine. But it can be really give it a different color if you can combine maybe some oranges and some blood oranges.
And you've sent me to the store and I've seen on the list and it's like oranges and blood oranges. And I call and I'm like, you have oranges on here twice. You're like, nope, I have oranges and blood oranges. And they're two different things for two different reasons. Get them both. Okay.
Yeah.
And I do. And then when I come home and you've made the salad, and the first time I tried it, because you get a blood orange and it's called that because the flesh of the orange is actually blood red.
Yeah.
And I see this dressing, and the dressing at first glance looks like a deep red Russian dressing maybe, or even a barbecue sauce.
It looks like a barbecue sauce to me.
And then when you taste it, it has the cumin, the coriander, the heat and the smoke from the chili powder, but it's got that sweet and tart thing going on from the blood orange.
They complement each other so well.
And I think every time you make this, I'm like, I would like to have this on some ribs.
Well,
because it would make a great barbecue sauce.
Yeah, it would. But I also think on this, if you wanted to, you could do a protein in this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you didn't want to do stick to plant-based and you wanted to do a protein on top of the salad, like a grilled chicken salad or skirt steak, I think this would be a great option for you.
How do you think shrimp would be in this?
I think shrimp and barbecue go hand in hand. I love grilled shrimp.
Yeah.
So I think that those notes of smoke in that sauce would go amazing on shrimp.
Yeah. But, I mean, you have the ability to bulk it up with the lettuce, and it's just got so many different levels of flavors and texture.
Yes.
That it's satisfying either way. Either way.
I like, for salads, I much prefer spring mix to lettuce. Lettuce is very one note and typically very, I don't want to say flavorless, but it doesn't have a lot going on. Where if you get a spring mix, you get different textures and a little bit of bitter, which I think is nice.
Yeah.
Especially if you have something sweet going on. And like in this this particular dish, you've got the sweet from the dressing. You've got the creamy from the avocado.
Oh yeah.
And
so good.
We have, when we couldn't get pomegranates, we've replaced the pomegranates with whole raw almonds.
Yes.
And I think that's a great substitute.
You could do that if you can't. I mean, I think that you could play with this, and depending on what is available in the produce department.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you could vary this up according to the seasonality of what is available. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even think about how a peach might play in here.
Ooh. Me either.
Because peach and barbecue, and you tend to say that's like a barbecue dressing. And how would that be?
I think it has potential.
So I just think there is a lot in this, and the dressing is just phenomenal. I love it.
It really is.
I absolutely love it. So if you have the Healthspan Solution, or if you go to the link in our show notes and you get the Healthspan Solution, you could have this amazing, very filling, citrusy, and satisfying meal.
Yeah, this is definitely what I would call an entree salad. And of course, you can make it as big as you want with the greens. But just the way they've got it laid out in the Healthspan Solution, it's very hearty, very satisfying, and it hits all the notes. Sweet, salty, tangy, creamy. Oh, so
it's just good.
So good.
So good. And it's a nice, you could take it to a celebration like a barbecue, like a lot of people are having this weekend.
Absolutely.
Or
you'd be the rock star.
You would be the rock star. Or, I mean, it is great to make for yourself and have it. So it can be a great everyday dish. It can be, I just like to make the dressing fresh right when I'm going to have the salad.
Okay, that's a good insider tip.
Yeah, because if you make it, because it has the citrus, the natural,
there's a little bit of pectin in there.
Yeah. Then if you save it for later, it's not a dressing anymore. It's more like
it gets a little jellified.
Yeah, then it's like a gel and no longer a dressing.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the that's the tip. Pro tip right there.
So there you go. But it is fabulous. I say make the dressing right before serving.
Very nice.
Tasty meal.
Well, before we head into the drink portion of the show, we want to take a minute to tell you guys about all of the ways that you can support the show, and really just say thank you to those that have been reaching into their pockets and becoming part of the Runcation Nation and doing what they can to keep our little operation up and running. Some of you have bought Run, Eat, Drink podcast apparel that is custom made for us by our friends at Pure Creative Apparel. And, you know, like I've said, the running shorts make you 3 to 7% faster and more attractive to members of the opposite sex.
Really?
No, not really.
Well, but you wear them and you can feel good knowing you have supported one of your favorite running podcasts.
And they look darn good.
And they're awesome. And Pam and Ariel from Pure Creative Apparel, they're incredible to us. A lot of people have supported us that way. A lot of people have given us such great, heartfelt, written reviews and ratings on Apple Podcasts. And that's a free way to grow our Runcation Nation.
Yeah, if you'll just head over to Apple Podcasts, leave a rating and review, that helps us get discovered. And it's all about the algorithm. And the more ratings and reviews that we get, the more recent ratings and reviews we get, the more our show is served up to other listeners. And you're really doing us a huge favor by doing that. But other runners who've run into us at races have said they'd like to support us long term, and that prompted us to do our Patreon. So we set up our Patreon, and if you head over to patreon.com/runneatdrinkpodcast, we created 3 different levels of monthly support: $2 a month, $5 a month, or $10 a month. And each level has unique perks for that level.
And even people who have jumped in on our live chats have reached out and supported us because they want to see more chats and extra content. And what is great about Patreon is if you love the show, get more of what you love, like uncut interviews, cooking demos. I mean, inspirational talks.
Yeah, we're brainstorming constantly about the more stuff that we plan to bring to
your chats,
not only to the show, but also to our patrons to give them some extra special content.
Yes.
And we cannot. It gives us this new avenue to be creative, and we can't wait to dive into some of that with you guys. And the fact that we have people who've decided to commit and $2 a month buys Amy, coffee once a month. And that in and of itself helps me greatly, because if she doesn't get her coffee, boy, let me tell you.
But we want to make it worth your while and worth your investment. So we're always contributing extra content. If you want to get more of what you love,
absolutely, our
show will always be free. But if you want more, head on over to patreon.com/runneatdrinkpodcast, or if you are a Podbean subscriber.
Podbean is our host. That is our home on the internet for the podcast, and they have their own patron program. And for those of you who are Podbean users, it's totally cool. You don't have to go outside of the Podbean ecosystem.
Nope.
Just go to our main podcast page, at the top of the page, click on the button that says Become a Patron. We have the exact same level set up. $2, $5, and $10, and the perks are exactly the same, regardless of how you sign up.
Identical. We just want to give you more of what you love, and we really thank everyone out there for supporting the Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
So, the drink portion of this week's show is also coffee infused.
It's a coffee sandwich.
It is.
I mean,
you say coffee sandwich, and people are going, "Ooh, that sounds weird."
It does.
I'd try it.
It does.
I'd try it.
I mean, but we could add coffee to that dress, like a little bit of coffee to that dressing, and see what happens in that salad. I don't know. If you wanted to
the world's first caffeinated salad.
I don't know. Anyway, but yes, we have a coffee infused episode, just like in the drink portion of our show. We are lucky enough to feature 2 local businesses that collaborate and produce wonderful beer together.
And wonderful coffee.
Infused with coffee.
Yes.
Yes.
We have talked about in the past Momentum Brew House.
Oh, yeah.
Momentum is a brewery and tap room down in their mailing address proper, is it Bonita Springs or Estero?
Springs? I believe it's Bonita Springs.
It's a little bit south of Fort Myers along the Tamiami Trail as you're heading down towards Naples. And it is, they not too long ago moved to their newer space.
Bonita Springs is their new space.
Okay.
Bonita Springs is their new space.
Yeah, and their newer space is very nice. I mean, they've done a great job with it. And
they collaborate with food trucks
all the time.
And what I really love about that, just their space is huge, and their space was really small. When we first went to Momentum at their old location and we saw Grumpy Goat Coffee and we learned about their collaborations, their new space has given them so much more room,
more flexibility
to grow and brew and have food trucks and events. And I applaud them for that. It's just gorgeous.
It really is.
It really is. And what I love about that, they collaborate and they produce great beer that's infused with coffee that we'll get into. The food trucks they have there, I love how on social media when they say, hey, we're featuring this food truck and here is a great meal from this food truck and a great beer from our tap list that would go great together.
Yeah, they actually take the time to do a food and beer pairing on their social media. And it's
great.
So awesome that they do that. Yeah. Because a lot of breweries go through fits working with some food trucks, because things happen in the food truck scene. The truck breaks down, things happen, they don't get product cooked, whatever the case may be. And if a brewery is counting on that food truck to come and be there and be part of the draw for that evening or that weekend, that's really, really tough. And I like that they're working very closely with these trucks to do these pairings, to say, hey, not only are we having this truck, you need to try this beer with this thing from their menu.
Yeah. So I can't wait to get down there and be in their humongous new tap room and have another local food truck to feature and a great food and beer pairing. However,
and from our house, it's about 20 to 30 minutes. It's not a bad hike at all.
So for our locals, get down there and check it out. But this is the drink portion of our show.
It is.
And we happen to have 2 beers infused with Grumpy Goat coffee.
Yes, and we mentioned Grumpy Goat as well because we have actually gone to events there, and Grumpy Goat had a pop-up.
Yes.
And they had their tent set up, and they were selling whole bean coffee and tastings of their coffee right there at the brewery.
And they also they'll grind for you coffee beans. Yeah, which is great when they're on site. We've seen them at Fort Myers Brewing Company.
Yep.
We've seen them at Momentum. We actually interviewed them on the show when we were a video podcast. And we were running the Run Like Mad 5K Dash.
Yes.
Yeah. So you could always go to runeatdrink.net and click on the shows page, and you could search for our interview, and that's a little bit of behind the scenes and tasting.
And they do make some amazing coffee.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that amazing coffee when it's put in beer. Because we happen to have a tasting that we're having as we record. And we're having some podcasting juice tonight.
That's what he likes to call it.
And I'm having one, and you're having another one.
Yes, let's go, man. Start it off.
And this local brewery, this is something else I love that they do. They can their own beers. They do the can releases, and even their labeling is very unique. I'm having the Thigh Highs from Momentum Brewing in collaboration with Grumpy Goat Coffee. This is called Thigh Highs, and Thigh Highs is their Knee Highs Imperial Red Ale infused with Grumpy Goat's Colombian Dark Roast Coffee. Their description says that it's malty, bold, and well-balanced. This small batch coffee infusion is meant to be savored, and they're not wrong. The Knee Highs Imperial Red Ale clocks in at 9.5% ABV.
Yeah.
So anything clocking in at 9.5 is meant to be savored. This is not one that you slam. And their notes on the Nehi's Imperial read, say, floral, citrus, malty, and balanced. And they use Northern Brewer hops, Columbus hops, and Amarillo hops. Normally, a 13-ounce pour is $8, a can is $6, and a crowler, which is 32 ounce, they sell for $12.
Did I tell you when I went to pick these up for us that, you know, the 4-pack kind of, you know, oh God, what do you call them when you put together your own 4-pack and then they
have the little plastic ring thing.
Plastic ring connectors that make it a 4-pack.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. It's terrible.
I don't know what the technical term is.
I don't know what
either.
it is, but what I love is you pick them up and they put them in that magical 4-pack, and then you bring that topper back, and you get a discount off your next purchase.
Oh, super cool! So that encourages you to reuse.
Yes.
Very nice.
Just FYI, I know. I did a poor job. I don't know what that's called.
I don't know what they're called either.
So
yeah, the plastic ring thing. Mm-hmm. So
tell us what it is if you know.
Yeah, their description is that's their description. Now, if I look at their label, it says that this clocks in also at 85 IBU. So 85 on the International Bitterness Unit scale. I can tell you that this is a much more bitter red ale than I'm accustomed to. I would say that this has a medium to heavy body.
Yes, agreed.
The aroma is decidedly coffee, but you also get a lot of the malt.
I think it's very malty.
The toasted malt sweetness. I don't get as much of the citrus notes or the floral notes that maybe this beer has without the coffee infusion, because they basically rest this beer on the coffee beans.
Oh my gosh! And
but I do get a strong aroma of that Colombian dark roast coffee. Oh. So you have an imperial red ale, which has a lot more hop in it anyway, which gives you more of that bitterness on the finish, which this does have. Mm-hmm. But then they used a dark roast coffee in addition. So a dark roast, like a French roast, that is going to be more bitter naturally as well. But you definitely get this pervasive aroma of coffee throughout, but with a really pleasant malty sweetness in the middle, and then a bitter finish.
I expected it to be more bitter with that higher bitterness units measurement.
Yeah.
I did, but I got more of a malt than a bitterness.
Yes, and generally I am a big fan of like an Irish red that has a little bit of a bitter note to it.
Yeah.
But this is even more bitter. This is like a kicked up Irish red would be the best way I could describe it, with a hint of coffee. Or more than a hint.
Yeah, I think
with a strong coffee flavor, although the color is spot on. It is a red ale. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. The color that I have in mine, which is their Pierce's Pale, but it has the Costa Rican medium roast from Grumpy Goat.
Oh, I love that coffee.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, when they released these beers, it was great to see Grumpy Goat there at the new location at Momentum, and they were offering 6-ounce bags and 1-pound bags, and they would grind the roast. They would grind it for you or leave it whole bean.
Right.
And so I got it whole bean for us, which is typically the way you like it.
Well, we have our own grinder, and we make French presses a lot here at home.
Yeah, so it's nice to be able to do that as you need, as you want. And to open the bags of Grumpy Goat coffee, I mean, I can eat the beans and I'm happy. I could just smell the bag. And the Pierce's Pale that's infused with this medium roast it takes me back to opening that bag for the first time.
I would say your coffee has a much stronger coffee aroma and flavor than mine does.
But the body.
But your body is lighter.
Lighter.
Yeah,
So
and the
lighter.
color is absolutely lighter.
Again, like a golden color.
These are not colored by the coffee bean. They are scented and flavored by the coffee bean.
Yeah, because you get that. I mean, you smell it. You definitely, the coffee flavor is on showcase in the taste of this beer.
Yeah, now the Pierce's Pale by itself, they say that it's moderately bitter with citrus notes. They use Northern Brewer, Cascade, Centennial, and Citra hops, which would give you a juicier finish, typically.
But I think that the coffee is on display. That's what I think.
I agree.
And the description from their Facebook page when they launched it, Momentum's Facebook page, Pierce's Pale Ale, Pierce's Pale infused with blonde roast coffee, 5.5% ABV, something like in the neighborhood of 40 IBU.
Okay.
A flavor that will blow your mind, according to their Facebook post. We've infused Pierce's Pale with blonde roast coffee for a brew that will surprise your taste buds. Citrusy, with flavors of mellow, light-bodied coffee. This version of our flagship pale ale will give you a little pep in your step.
I really like your coffee selection. We tried a couple of these when we first got the cans. We've been sitting on these cans for a few weeks, and we saved them, and we saved these two for tonight when we could record. And I'm having the red, you're having the blonde, and then later on tonight
we'll switch.
We'll switch. Yeah. But I think the coffee is so
sharing's caring,
on display with your beer.
It is. It's so coffee forward. I mean, I know it says citrusy flavors, but I don't get a whole lot of citrus in the main sip of the beer.
No, but your coffee has, or your beer has my favorite coffee in it. I am a huge fan of Costa Rican coffees. We've talked with our friends at Narrative Coffee Roasters about this. This is a coffee that naturally produces some tartness and some fruity notes.
So it complements very well.
Very much so.
Very well. So I think Grumpy Goat knows where it's at. I think that their collaboration and thinking about, they're so forward thinking in that here is what this beer has on showcase in terms of flavors and bitterness. And then here is what this coffee has to bring to the table and how they make a perfect combination, a perfect connection.
And if you really want to blow your mind, you get a blonde ale that tastes so strongly of coffee.
I know.
It does not taste like it looks.
I mean, you look at it, you don't expect, it's like a golden color.
Yeah.
And I just didn't expect the coffee explosion. Oh, what a celebration of coffee.
It is.
It's amazing. And you know how I love coffee.
So we are going to have links to both Momentum Brewing as well as our friends over at Grumpy Goat in the show notes. We invite you to check them out if you're coming down to Southwest Florida.
Yes.
To get some amazing beer and food trucks and want to have a great afternoon or evening out.
Yeah.
Going over to Momentum is a great way to do that.
And I think that if you wanted to try Grumpy Goat coffee, you could order it online, or if you are local to Southwest Florida, they have pop-ups at breweries.
They do.
But then they have pop-ups at their roastery. They don't have a cafe there.
Right.
But they pop up all over, and they're really big supporters of a lot of community gathering places, if you will.
Oh, they are. And I would say if you're coming down to Florida, if you're going to be doing some vacationing, if you're celebrating something and you're down here, maybe for the beaches of Sanibel, having a pound or two of their coffee in your room.
And they can grind it for you, so then you're ready to go. And then if you have a coffee maker in your room, you're set.
It's a perfect way to go. You couldn't get more fresh.
Oh, and you could sit on a balcony by the beach and sip on this coffee and be happy. Sorry.
I can see it look in your eyes. You're just transported right there.
I am.
So that's our recommendation.
Yes. Yes.
Check them out.
Thank
It's
you.
in the show notes.
Thank you to Grumpy Goat
and Momentum. We're making some killer beer.
We can't wait to see y'all again.
Coffee.
We can't wait to see you again. We can't wait to drink your coffee again. We can't wait to drink your beer and sample a perfectly paired food truck item with it.
Well, that does it for this week's episode of the Run Eat Drink podcast.
I know. I go on.
I know.
Two of my favorite things.
I hear you.
Coffee, and it has wrapped up this episode very nicely.
So we had a blast covering this amazing beer, telling you guys all about one of our favorite recipes from the Healthspan Solution. Check that out. The link is in the show notes.
Yes.
If you click on that link, you're supporting the show. That's our Amazon affiliate link to that book.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be disappointed. Over 100 recipes for plant-based eating in the Healthspan Solution.
And it doesn't
we are
cost
still
anymore.
cooking our way through that book.
We are, and it doesn't cost any more to click on the link and support the show.
No.
Just so you know. But we also got to run a fabulous 5K or 10K. See, you
10K.
did it to me.
I know.
Did it to me.
Well, you're looking at the medal.
Gosh darn it. We got to run a fabulous 10K.
10K.
10K. In honor of an awesome movie theme, an awesome
Drink theme.
coffee theme.
Coffee. And supporting
A great cause.
an amazing cause.
Yes, we are very passionate about supporting organizations that fight cancer in any way and support families that are battling that as
And
well.
Stand Up to Cancer is one of those organizations.
So applause, and we are so happy that Tyler brought this virtual race to our attention.
So we are going to have a link to this race as well. But if coffee and Star Wars doesn't ring your bell, number one, I don't know why you're listening to our show, but that's okay. There's plenty of other options.
It's not just coffee and Star Wars on the show. I mean, we do other things.
We do, but if there's other things that ring your bell even more, I Run for Movement Virtual Runs has something for you.
So good.
Check them out.
Yes.
Head over to the website. Click on that link. You're not going to be disappointed.
So great. And, next week, we continue on the 2020 quest to bring you amazing virtual races. More so.
We do. And we're going to be running quite a lot of them. We're actually going to be running 4 virtual 5Ks this coming week.
It's a lot.
We're going to we're going to get them all done ahead of time.
It's a lot.
But we're doing it. And we're going to be telling you all about that on the next episode.
Yes, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. And we'll bring you more fantastic food and beverage. It could be indulgent. It could be a part of our
quest for health and fitness.
Quest for health.
But it's probably going to be indulgent.
Well, yeah. I mean, we got to mix it up. Everything. It's, our episodes, our podcast, if you will, all about balance.
Absolutely.
Balance. And we have done a fantastic job this whole month of eating healthy, it's just been, I applaud you.
I applaud you.
I applaud you. It's been a lot of hard work. And now we must bring more for you to explore and indulge.
And we may have a way to do that. So stay tuned for next week's show.
Yeah.
We're going to have something I think you're going to enjoy.
Oh.
So,
with
that said, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/runnydrinkpodcast if you want to support the show, or Podbean users, go to patreon.podbean.com/runnydrinkpodcast, or on our page, click on the Become a Patron button. It helps support the show. It keeps the lights on and the bandwidth flowing. Thank you for your support.
So, That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you for joining us on your long run, your commute to work, just around the house, wherever you are. We are so thankful you're here. For now, I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Stay safe and well, and we'll talk to you really soon. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We're having another great year thanks to your support. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're at Run, Eat, Drink Podcast. And on Twitter, we're Run, Eat, Drink Pod. You can also give us a call at 941-677-2733 or send us an email at info@runeatdrink.net. Visit our website at runeatdrink.net and click on the subscribe link so you don't miss a minute. Find out how you can support the show at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. Accomplish, explore, and indulge right along with us. We'll talk to you next time.